Welcome to the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame. My name is Rennie LaRue and I am the Executive Director. We are thrilled to be with you today to announce that the great Yankee catcher Thurman Munson will be part of our induction class on November 3rd at the Hilton Hotel in Troy, New York. We invite everyone to attend Thurman's induction into the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame. Thurman was an amazing person. He was a lifelong Yankee. He was the first American League catcher to be named Rookie of the Year. He was a 7-time All-Star. He was a 3-time Gold Glove winner. And of course, he was the American League Most Valuable Player in 1976. Thurman also led the Yankees to 2 consecutive World Championships in 1977 and 78. Thurman was an amazing defensive catcher and threw out a very amazing 45% of all runners both in season and postseason. Thurman was also a postseason force at the bat. He batted .523 in the World Series in 1976 against Cincinnati, and he batted .375 in all his postseason games and series. Thurman was a great person and man, father, teammate, and the first captain of the Yankees since Lou Gehrig. Thurman was our captain and everyone's captain that's a Yankee fan. We invite all of you to revisit his career statistics, including his Ward 10 numbers, which compare very favorably with every other Major League catcher that's in the Baseball Hall of Fame. All of us will remember with affection the rivalry that Thurman enjoyed with the great Hall of Fame catcher Carlton Fisk. Thurman's numbers compare very favorably with Carlton over the 10-year period of time they played together. And certainly Carlton Fisk is one of the greatest catchers, as is Thurman, of all time. We urge you to consider Thurman also for the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. Our induction to the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame is the first leg of the journey that we hope will end in Cooperstown with Thurman's induction. We appealed to both the sports writers and the 16-person Major League Committee to vote to consider Thurman again, to reconsider his numbers that are now based very favorably on the metrics that envelop today's vote. Come join us on November 3rd and welcome Thurman Munson into the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame. Thank you.
The captain of the New York Yankees, Thurman Munson.
He did things that you go, man, this guy can really play.
I was totally amazed always at Thurman. I thought he was one of the greatest competitors I've ever known.
Munson keeps it alive for the Yankees. Munson, a beautiful throw. Lethal Thurman Munson at bat. Munson makes the play.
The way he played the game exemplifies what we have been about.
He was a gladiator. I mean, he was a warrior. He was a professional that did whatever it took to win.
He was one of those guys where he didn't say a lot, but when he said something, he had a reason to say it. I mean, and everyone listened.
Thurman enjoyed playing baseball. He liked playing baseball. He had a sense of tradition for the history of the game, and at the same time, he enjoyed catching. It was the most challenging position on the field, and it was a position that demanded not only physical ability, but thinking, the mental process of it, and Thurman really relished that.
Pitching was made easier because I got to throw to a guy like Thurman. He made pitchers that were average good. He made him win a lot of games because of his ability to take all the pressure and call the game. And we all felt like, well, that's the best pitch to throw. I mean, I'm not going to second guess it and say it's not. I could have thrown a guy 20 sliders and made him look foolish, but if he called for a fastball, that's what I threw. If I threw a pitch that a guy hit out of the ballpark, he took the responsibility for it. He said, I called for it. And he might have exaggerated on the truth and said, the guy hit a good pitch. It could have been right down the middle of the plate. But he always took the responsibility, and nobody argued with him.
Bullpen to get out of the car and go to the mound. And Munson would meet me at the mound. He'd be out there with Billy. And Munson would say, hey, how you going to lose this one? I said, I don't know. Get back there. We're going to find out, you know.
That, to me, is a real true sign of a great catcher. when you can put your finger down or whatever, or be in sync with the pitcher when you know what he wants to throw, and they just say, okay, fine, that's what I want to go with, all right? Every once in a while, you shake him off, and he'd go out there and say, you better not shake me off again, something like that.
One of the greatest warriors I ever knew. Thurman, I can remember the day I called him in to make him the captain. I said, Thurman, we need somebody to lead us.
Thurman was just, he was the leader, he was the captain, he was the soul of our team, really. Played hurt all the time, had a very unorthodox way of playing the game as far as a catcher, but got the job done all the time. He was the guy that really just went out there and led by example.
Moment from his Hall of Fame induction speech that sticks out.
But in the 70s, there was a new generation of catchers that came along. Bench and Boone, and Carter and Parrish and Munson and Fisk.
Standing on that podium, listing all those great catchers, there's two he has to keep together, Munson and Fisk.
So let's give the late Thurman Munson some Cooperstown justice. The 1980s Hall of Fame voting consisted mainly of using a player's totals. Total hits, total home runs, total wins. We're way past that now. And just keep in mind, even with his career cut short, Munson is currently 13th all-time in wins above replacement among catchers. In WAR 7, his 7 best years, a stat devised by our friend Jay Jaffe, Munson is tied for 8th all-time with Yogi Berra. Munson's peak is among the top 10 at his position in baseball history. My basic methodology, and I'm consistent with this, what do you do in your best 10 years? 10 years is a long time. It's not a peak, it's a good bit longer. And Munson measures up using this system. Here's Munson for his best 10 years, which admittedly is his entire career. Even taking into consideration his death in the middle of the 1979 season, Munson is at an average WAR of 4.6 per season. That is above other top Hall candidates at catcher, including Ted Simmons, Jorge Posada, Bill Freehan, and yes, Yadier Molina, who's already gone through his prime. If you go by hitting alone, yeah, Ted Simmons is well ahead. Then Posada, then Munson and Freehan, and then Molina. It points out the demands of the position. Catching, with all of its defensive components, is much more than hitting alone. I'm not pretending that the defensive metrics are perfect for catching, but it makes certain sense that Munson, Freehan, and Molina have actual more value than Simmons and Posada because of their superior defense. It doesn't mean those other two aren't Hall of Famers. They could be. But defense here, more than anywhere else, matters. Catcher. Now, let's match up Munson with his then rival, who is in the Hall of Fame. Carlton Fisk is a no-doubt Hall of Famer, a better hitter than Munson. He was also a productive catcher until he was about 41 years old. But in their prime, who was better? In their first decade, even with park adjustments, Fisk is the better hitter, 125 OPS plus, that's excellent, to Munson at 116. But Carlton Fisk missed a lot of time, 4 times playing fewer than 100 games. Munson leads overall at the plate in terms of volume production, with more runs created. And in terms of WAR, the total game, it's Thurman Munson again with the edge. By the way, Munson earns that defensive edge. A pitching staff certainly plays a part in this, but caught stealing percentage does give you an indication of a catcher's ability to control the running game. Munson had an exceptionally quick release, and his caught stealing percentage for his career, a stellar 45%. Molina's at 41%, Freehan 37%, Fisk at 34%, Simmons 34%. Munson's percentage would have likely gone down had he continued into his 30s, but he is still above the rest. All right, one last thing. The object in Major League Baseball is to win championships. It doesn't mean a guy who plays on a title team is a winner and the guy who doesn't is a loser. But leading your team to pennants and championships should matter. Munson did that, not only leading the Yankees to 3 straight pennants and 2 World Series titles, but playing well in each and every series he played in. In 135 plate appearances spaced over 3 seasons, he hit .357 with a .378 on base. You can see he didn't like to walk. Slugging nearly .500. This is the late 70s, very low scoring. And all those cliches, I admit, guys like me laughed at. This guy's a winner. It's actually true in this case. Thurman Munson was a leader, a winner, and before his life was cut short, a Hall of Fame caliber player. Thurman Munson should get renewed consideration for the Hall of Fame.
Munson hits it high, hits it well to left. Wilson going
Come on in, Thurman.
What's the problem? I'm playing good ball.
You certainly are. In my opinion, Thurman Munson's the finest catcher in the game. The problem is you're not shaving.
I do shave. It must be my electric razor.
Maybe it's not your razor. It's your beard. It just lays there. Get it to stand up with Williams' electric shave. The razor will shave closer, cleaner, with less irritation.
I'm going to use electric shave. Then I'll be the best looking catcher in the game. Well, one of the best.
Electric shave!